Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, Ivey turns 2. Also, the V team takes a look at killing the lottery bill. And meet the real Porch Creek Indians.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works.
Greed is not always good. All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. Welcome to The Voice of Alabama Politics. We tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and as always, I'm joined by the V team. Welcome all.
Hey,
Hello.
Welcome back, Beth.
I'm back.
Yes.
And this time next week, I might be a lawyer. We'll see. We got some good news to report.
Yeah, Beth at the bar.
That's an unheard of story.
different kind of bar than we're used
Different kind
to.
of bar, yeah.
It does sound like a TV show to me.
It does, doesn't it?
Our friend Jack Campbell has been had some health issues lately, but we're happy to report that he is well on the mend and headed toward full recovery. But he wanted us to say, "How you doing?" to everybody.
Sure, he's offending all the nurses at the hospital.
I heard he was awake and alert making fun of Del Marsh earlier.
Yes, he was.
There's Jack.
He's doing great, and we love him, and he'll be back soon.
Yes, he will be.
All right. Josh, it looks like ding dong, the ethics bill is dead.
Yeah.
But, that thing was just corrupt. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
That's an understatement.
Nobody could really figure out exactly, what the whole goal here was, because I'm pretty sure passage was never at the end of this thing, and some more rational people in our state legislature, surprised there are some, took over. Cam Ward said it was dead in his committee. Then I believe Mac McCutcheon said he's never going to make it to the floor in the House,
Yep.
and so. It seems as though it's dead, not from a lack of effort of Del Marsh and Greg Albritton, including a pretty embarrassing radio interview with Marsh this week, which did not go well.
Susan, we heard that radio interview, and I must say, I have not heard a politician melt down like Marsh since they poured water on the Wicked Witch of the West. I mean,
Absolutely, and I hate to say this because I'm not a real fan of Matt Murphy, but go Matt Murphy!
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, he really,
Things we never thought we'd say.
I know. I mean, I've got a couple of those this week, but no, I mean, he really just put it to him and said, what is actually the purpose of this bill? What is anything that's impeded that, we haven't got an economic development in because we have the ethics laws? And Marsh just melted down.
And Beth, it basically
He hung up on him, too.
And Marsh hung up on him. But Beth, this bill, I talked to a Republican lawmaker who said, we passed this bill, and the Democrats should be able to beat us in a landslide because we will have taken it back even worse than what we accused the Democrats of doing.
Right. What if we had, a party chair who could message her way out of a paper bag? Then we could maybe capitalize on that, but we don't.
Or message her way off the toilet.
That would be helpful too.
She did that, but
She told everybody about that. But no, it goes to show that, first of all, ethics are not partisan issues, and there are good Democrats and bad Democrats, and there are good Republicans and bad Republicans.
Right.
But also, Marsh, come on, when your lobbyists write the bill for you, get them to staple the talking points to the front so you can rip them off when you file the bill and know what you're talking about. Because that was sad. I've seen high school kids give better interviews. They're more, complete in their understanding of what they're talking about.
well, the problem that he had was there was really no defense of the bill, and the questions that Murphy was asking on the show were questions that pretty much everybody's had all along about this thing.
Yeah.
What does this solve? Where are these grand problems that you keep talking
Well,
about?
there are
Give me
holes
an
in the
example.
bill.
Give me an example.
There are holes in the ethics laws we have now. We can all agree on that. We watched them come to light in the Hubbard trial. How does this address those holes, Del?
Well, it just creates bigger holes. is
Yeah.
what it
Right.
really
Yeah.
did.
Well, what it does is it just removes all barriers to
Yeah.
corruption. That is it. You can do, I mean, it really is sort of this libertine, ethics bill. As long as it's okay with you,
No criminal intent involved.
nobody cares.
Right.
Unless it was just that blatant, just to say, screw it, we don't care.
Yeah, the thing that kept bothering me about the whole bill, it was so brazen and what it was doing. It's
Yeah.
like, what are they after? What? And a lot of Republicans will say, well, this is what they've wanted all along, but they don't. They don't operate like this. I mean, they operate in the shadows when they really want something. So, what was the real purpose
Yeah,
of this?
and that-
Nobody can figure it out.
The other problem was that it was so dumb. I mean, the bill itself was just was really written very. It was just so dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, it was there were so many just legal loopholes in the whole thing that didn't cover specifics to so many different things. It was really dumb.
The one thing it did do was address who's a principal. The same people who were principals before.
They just kind of shifted who it could
The
be.
only
They
thing it
didn't
changed,
redefine it at
the
all.
only thing it changed is the principal can do anything they want. Right?
But y'all don't forget, Hubbard still got appeals to the
Yeah,
Supreme Court.
that's right.
And so it could be that they're just trying to break this law more so that they can go to Supreme Court. But look, nobody understands what these laws
Yeah.
say. They're a mess, and make Hubbard's defense more
Could be.
plausible.
Well, I want to get to one of my favorite bills so far of the year, and if it doesn't get the Shroud Award, it should, because, basically it's ban the bag ban, and it's about banning any ban on plastic bags, Josh. What?
Yeah, any
but
ban
that's a
bags.
big issue here. No one's brought it up.
Yeah.
No one's brought it up, but we want to ban the bag.
Well, things are going so perfectly throughout the rest of the state that we're now solving problems that we don't really have. But God forbid anybody try to do anything proactive in the state. Honestly, if you've ever participated in a cleanup effort anywhere, you know the number of plastic bags that are everywhere out there. You just take a trip down any roadway in this state. What are we doing?
And Susan, all their, people having, states and cities around the country are saying no more, plastic bags, or we'll tax the plastic bag.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like 10 cents a bag in D.C.
Yeah, nobody in Alabama's even tried to do that yet, but the legislature, to make sure, has said, well, before you try to do it, we're going to stop it.
Well, before you try to make a decision on your own municipalities, we're going to go ahead and make the decision for you.
Aren't these the same people ranting and raving about like DC mandates, or at least they were a few years ago?
exactly.
With,
For
That's the
governmental
point.
overreach and all that kind of
Exactly,
stuff.
right.
There are other states out there that do these things where they give people money for turning in their bottles or plastic bottles and other,
I mean,
other
something
things.
like recycling?
Yeah, recycle. Yeah, I know.
That word.
I know, and it's crazy. It's crazy, but those states are significantly cleaner than ours.
Well, we call...
and they can pay for their public schools
we,
somehow.
It's crazy.
No, we
Bunch
can't
of
have anything
liberals.
like this. But the thing is, we call them Alabama tumbleweeds because
Absolutely,
they're
they
just
are.
everywhere. And the thing is, if people want... Today, you can usually get paper and plastic, or bring your own bags. And we keep filling up landfills, and I'm not bleeding hard over this. I'm just saying, let's be smart and not stupid about our environment.
Whose life is so great? Whose life is so great that if you went in and all they had were paper bags, you'd be like, oh my God, no, paper, no.
Well,
Jonathan Darby's that's who's.
that's gonna have to be the last word on that. Ban the bag, baby, ban. We'll be right back with more news and analysis. Ivey turns 2.
Terrible twos.
Hey man, what are you doing today?
Playing the game. Thought I'd go out for a drive later, maybe. Text some friends while I'm doing it. Scroll through social media. Kill a family 4 and a head-on collision.
Cool, man.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
A lot can change in 5 years. Except those smile lines you treated with Bellafill. Because that's about how long Bellafill will keep them smooth and filled. 5 years. Now you can always look your best without all those injections, appointments, and costs. Bellafill is the only dermal filler that stimulates and maintains collagen growth long term. Now time is on your side.
Back to the V, the voice of Alabama politics. Beth, I don't know if time slows down when you're in the middle of all this or speeds up, but Governor Kay Ivey took office, I think it was last Wednesday, 2 years ago, which meant Robert Bentley resigned office 2 years ago. I mean, it's crazy to think at all that's happened.
Right, it is absolutely nuts. And I was talking about it with my boyfriend because we were on our first date when Spencer Collier got fired. And my phone started blowing up. So it was just weird of like, oh my gosh, like how the 3 years that we've been together and how this has all come together. I mean, I think the state hadn't gotten any worse for sure. I mean, the governor's office clearly hasn't had any scandals come out of it that are worth, ruining the state over the way Bentley was. So I think we're in a good spot.
That's such a low bar.
Good job, Kay. You didn't ruin
Nobody's gone to jail.
I mean, she hasn't embarrassed herself that much, like not all that often, so we're okay.
No, I mean, the truth is, Susan, it has been so calm since, and you can say what you want, it's been so calm since Governor Ivey took control that it's like you almost forget that it was ever that nuts. You remember the day that Bentley resigned?
Almost like she's not there most of the time.
Well, it could be worse.
But you're talking about the day Bentley resigned. You talk about a chaotic day.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Reporters from all over, everywhere, crawling all over the Capitol.
I got to be honest, I like that better. I like the chaos.
Better for business.
But it was embarrassing what Bentley
totally
did. And that whole charade and everything that went on there was, it was fun to cover for that day.
Yeah, it was.
But, it was also, you write those headlines and you see people read them from, you get the emails from folks across the country.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just not a good day.
Well, it isn't. Congratulations to Governor Ivey on 2 years of...
And she got her infrastructure bill through almost without a hitch.
She's on a roll. Josh, you and I talked about this, and Susan and Beth earlier, and you wrote about it. Attorney General Steve Marshall, his staff responded to Mike Hubbard's appeal before the Supreme Court of Alabama, and it actually was a very good brief.
It was, and Marshall is surprising.
Marshall didn't write it, in case y'all were wondering.
Honestly, I believe it was probably Clark Morris or her office there that wrote this thing up, the charge of special prosecutions now, who took over from Matt Hart. And so, it was a good brief. It was a good response back. It was a lot of common sense. They avoided, a lot of the legalese stuff in there because, it's going to the Alabama Supreme Court and they don't understand things like that. So you got to go common sense with them and try to make, look, come on. Y'all know this Alabama Supreme Court. It's a joke. And so I thought this made a lot of sense with a lot of people and would really kind of resonate anybody that read it. You went through this thing. And the one point that I've always made with Hubbard where, they've tried to muddy the water and say, well, he was just a guy who was trying to make a living and he didn't know he was breaking the law. Yeah. Read the emails. Go back and read the transcript from the people who testified in court about the things that he said to them. Yep. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew it was illegal and he was trying to get away with it. That's 100%. Yep. And that's what that brief covered.
Yep.
Yeah, it does.
Susan, we were shocked that Steve Marshall could have just slow walked this thing and just not put up very much of a defense. And quite frankly, some of us were afraid that he would do just that.
And I'll be having a leg of crow for lunch today because I have to say, we really thought he would soft pedal this, and he didn't. He went in hard hitting. And I was very pleased at what came out of that office.
Well, Beth, you have to believe he got on the phone and says, all right, if I back this?
Yeah, I want to know who he asked. But it's also, I mean, remember too
Is this yes or no?
Do I like this bill or not?
Right.
Yeah.
But remember too, there's the power structure now that doesn't include Mike Hubbard, and so for a while everything hinged around protecting him and protecting that power that was built. That power has shifted dramatically. So now it's not about protecting Hubbard; it's about protecting the new structure. And you bet Steve Marshall's kissing whoever's butt he needs to be kissing.
Yeah.
And so that's how that's going to go down.
Well, look, however it happened, kudos to it won't actually come out of my mouth, will it, Josh?
Listen, I wrote a nice column.
I can pat you on the
about Steve
back.
Marshall.
Kudos to Steve Marshall
There
you
and his
go.
team for bringing this forward. We got about 2 minutes, and this is not on the agenda, but it comes to mind. I keep hearing these things. Well, BCA is behind this. BCA is behind this. They're behind. No, they're not.
They're wishful thinking.
Somebody said that BCA was behind this ethics bill.
They're wanting to give credibility where credibility is not due, and they're using the BCA to try to do that with it, and they better watch out.
And this is a
Yeah, because
new...
Katie Britt's there now, and I'm not messing. Oh, I'm not messing with her.
You don't want to mess with
Maybe
Katie.
I'm gonna play.
What brought it to mind was what you said. There is a paradigm shift, and they want to blame. They would have been able to blame BCA for these things in the past, but it's a new regime. That's a bad word, but it's a new day. It's new leadership, and they said that BCA was behind this ethics bill. I went, like, in your dreams,
Yeah.
they don't want
wish.
corruption.
No.
That's the old guy wanting corruption.
You're talking about the Business Council of Alabama, businesses that don't want other businesses to come to Alabama because, we got to pay to play. That makes no sense.
Yeah, that was the whole thing with this bill is it set us back in the eyes of a lot of business.
Yeah, it did.
Exactly.
Because they don't want to have to pay. They don't want to pay slime balls that that are over there with their hands out all the time, who are worthless people who couldn't get a job doing anything else most of the time. And so you're paying them consulting contracts just so you can get a bag band.
But it is true.
Well, it's funny that when we talked about this on break that the bag ban also bans styrofoam cups, or bans on styrofoam cups, when Mike Hubbard had an indictment about cups.
Well, and there was nothing that Mike wouldn't do for an almighty dollar. I really do.
I bet he's doing some stuff when he goes to prison for a dollar.
Well, he'll need a lot of money on his green dot card.
A lot.
But I am
A lot.
hoping that the Alabama Supreme Court will not embarrass us, and that Chief Justice Parker and the other ones will do their job. I mean, 2 of the justices have recused themselves, and I really, Susan, Beth, Josh, I am very concerned that they want to let him go on 2 or 3 things because it has embarrassed big mules in this.
I have zero faith in them.
Right.
Zero.
But the thing is, people need to understand, if they do let those go, which is a real possibility that's going to happen, he still has to serve time.
That's right. We're going to leave it right there. You're watching the voice of Alabama politics. When we come back, we're going to introduce you to the real Porch Creek Indians.
What a great opportunity for your success. Adding 500,000 highly skilled employees to our workforce by 2025 is how we stay ahead in Alabama. Our economy is stronger than it's been in years, and a skilled workforce is more important than ever. Things move fast, so choose your path. Your success is waiting, plus a great future for Alabama. Success Plus. Go for it.
The Energy Institute of Alabama promotes reliable, affordable, and clean energy to help grow our economy, create high-paying jobs, and build public support for Alabama's energy industry. The Energy Institute of Alabama is the best source of energy industry information and how it affects households across the state, from convenient energy production to alternative fuels to solar power and beyond.
What are you doing today, babe?
I thought I'd head down to the lake with the guys, do a little fishing. Of course, none of us will be wearing our seatbelts. I'll lose control of the truck, wrap it around a tree, and kill us all.
Okay.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Welcome back to the V, the voice of Alabama politics. Susan, there are some very fine people with the Porch Band of Creek Indian.
There are.
And like other organizations or groups, there are some very interesting or suspect folks. I'm trying to follow my
you
can't say anything
you've
good,
done
don't
very
say
well.
anything at all, but if I did that, I wouldn't say anything at all. But one of the things that I am so sick and tired of hearing about the Porch Band of Creek Indian is they're such good neighbors, such good neighbors. That's like you and I living next door to billionaires who come and burn down our house every so often, but bring us a cake.
Yes.
Or at least burn down the fence. Because they take and they take and they take and they take, and then they want to give a little something back. And by that, I mean, their attorney general, the Porch Creek's former attorney general, writing in an article, said that the state legislature had played right into their hands, giving them a de facto monopoly over game. Very clear.
Yes, and that's exactly what they've done. Yeah. I mean, whether they pass legislation for lottery, whether they don't pass legislation for lottery, no matter what they do right now, they have a de facto monopoly over gaming. Mm-hmm. And so they've got it, absolutely. Another thing that was said by, I think it was Stephanie Bryant, or in a court filing, that we are their deadliest enemies. Well, if we're their deadliest enemies, why do they keep coming to the State House and begging for, their
special
lottery
treatment
and special treatment and all of that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not mad at them. If I'm mad at somebody, I'm mad at our representatives, our senators.
They're doing what human nature allows them to do.
Yes, they are taking care of themselves and their own people.
That's right.
That's what they are interested in. That's the people they've taken care of. That's the exact same behavior we should expect from the people that we send to Montgomery to represent us.
But they don't do that.
Yeah, they don't do that. They don't do that. They have instead helped the Porch Creeks create this monopoly, benefit from it, buying billion-dollar casinos in Pennsylvania and Curacao, Louisiana, all over the country.
Yeah.
And listen, again, good for the Porch Creeks. I hope they make billions of dollars and do well and prosper.
I do too.
But I also would like to have the tax money from some of those billions of dollars.
I don't mind helping them. What I don't like is we're not helping ourselves in this situation.
Yes.
They're not being taxed. We don't have lottery that we can tax. And meanwhile, the legislature's sitting over there twiddling their thumbs.
But the Greg Albritton and Del Marsh, the same dumb
the brain
and
trust
dumber,
of legislature.
who gave us the ethics law.
The ethics bill this time.
The ethics bill. They put a bill together that, as Josh said, should have had the Porch Creek logo at the top, giving them a further monopoly. We are not going to. What's the problem is, Beth, is I don't have a problem with the Indians making tons of money. What I have the problem with is them stopping our private businesses from doing the same. And that's what they do.
Right. And I mean, the thing here that we can't forget is there was a really big taking right in the beginning of this that has set this whole thing into place where now the Indians are stuck on tribal lands and they're not on their own land where we came and took it. But, the fact of it is that they have lobbyists coming up here and buying our politicians the same way that, the gas company bought Mike Hubbard. And we don't have leaders with integrity like Del Marsh in here who will cash the check and then put the bill in. They don't have enough integrity Del Marsh should be working for District 12 is what Del Marsh should be worried about. Just like Josh said, he shouldn't be worried about what's best for Porch Creek. And what's best for the state right now is we need a lottery. And that's not going to help.
Not a paper lottery.
That's not going to help Porch Creek. I get that. I'm real sorry for him. But we have 105 House members and 36 senators who need to be looking out for the people of Alabama.
Right, but it's not going to hurt Porch Creek either
No.
because they have a track
it's
in Mobile. They'll be able to participate in this just like everybody else. But we need a level playing field.
It still wouldn't have been level. They would have still given the Porch Creeks an advantage out of this. If we had passed everything the way that it was written in the original McClendon bill, it would have still allowed for an advantage to the Porch Creeks, not only in the fact that they got another casino in Mobile. Also in the fact that at the end of this thing, they would have gone in and got a much lower tax rate than what everybody else was paying and operated the same games in their casinos that are already established.
I just don't want the Porch Creek having any more influence over our state legislature, which they've just proved they did because they killed the lottery bill, than do I want the President Macron of France or any of the other foreign leaders.
Any other, even in-state lobbyists.
Right.
I don't want the hospital association or the beverage association or labor or anybody to come in and have this much control over what bills come and go.
Well, we got about 2 minutes left. There is in the realm of the possible that there could be an alternative to the lottery bills that we've seen. And I've been thinking about this, Josh, and I was wondering, would it be possible to say, all right, let's have a paper lottery with the scratch-offs and all that good stuff, but also allow the places where pari-mutuel gaming, that's pari-mutual wagering is legal, allow them to have the same games that IGRA allows the Indians to have? Wouldn't that be fair? How's that unfair to the Indians?
Again, none of this is unfair to them. And that's the way the law is set up. The way they ensure fairness under IGRA is that you give the Indian tribes that are in your state the same opportunity to play the games that you give everybody else. That's fairness.
But Bob Riley and the Bingo Wars said that they couldn't do that.
That's right.
Well, they raided somewhere up in, Bessemer last week?
And Jefferson County no one has ever thought that gaming was legal in Jefferson County for bingo because they never had an amendment. That's why.
Right.
The reason why Macon and Lowndes and in Greene counties thought that it was legal was because they went through this entire process where they passed the amendments through the legislature. Then the people voted on the amendments, and what they voted on was electronic gaming at that point. And so that's the reason why we've had this whole argument for all these number of years, is these people did it the right way, the same way you've approved drinking.
But Beth came up with a great point. If we did it this way, then it would do away with all the ambiguities, and we would know whether it's legal in Jefferson or not.
That, and also it's just like trying to regulate abortion. You can make it illegal all you want. People are still going to do it. People are still going to gamble, and they're going to bet. And it's whether they're doing it above board and paying taxes on it, or whether they're doing it behind closed doors and not.
All right, we're going to have to leave it right there. Thank y'all.
People gamble?
Not here in Alabama. You've been watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. You watch us because we watch them.